the one, the only, Bencio. Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Table Enabled. We're back, Shulchan Aruch Yomi, after a hiatus about a month and a half. I burnt out personally of doing Shulchan Aruch Yomi around Purim time, and once you give it up, it's hard to get back on track. So I decided to wait a little bit of time. Then I was in America for the past 3 weeks, so I took a break. I didn't have time to do it over there. But we're back. I want to continue with this. So we're up to Siman Ratio Ted 219 in Orach Chaim. Coincidentally, it's also Birchas Hodas HaYachid. It talks about the bracha of Gomel, saying how Gomel, back to the Israeli speakers on their cars, talking about the latest funeral that's going to be if you hear it in the background. So we're back to Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Birchas Hodas HaYachid talks about saying Gomel after you come back from crossing a midbar or crossing a yam, a sea. So we fly in planes. We don't really go in boats. Do you say Birchas HaGomel? The minute you say Birchas HaGomel, personally, I would say you don't say Birchas HaGomel when you take a flight, an El Al flight, or any airline, because it's not like a boat. It used to be they traveled on boats. It's pretty dangerous to travel on a boat. Maybe nowadays cruise liners are safer, but I don't know. I mean, you're called Yordei Hayam. It's called Amar. It's not over a Hayam. People pass over the sea. Usually when you fly over the Atlantic back to Israel, you're flying over the sea. But it's Yordei Hayam. You're going into the sea. That's more dangerous when you go on a boat. I personally believe it. Definitely used to be. A lot of people used to die on ships crossing over the Atlantic when they came from Europe to America. So anyway, let's get into this. Aleph, Arba Srichim Lahodos. 4 people have to say this Birchas Hodah, Birchas HaGomel, as we call it. Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, Gomel Chayam Tohosh K'malan Kol Tov. Basically, that bracha. Yordei Hayam, people that go in the sea. K'sha'alim Mimenu, when they get out of the sea. V'holchem Midbarios, you go into a midbar. Midbar is a forest or a wilderness. It's interesting, I was in America for 3 weeks, and I like to compare living in America and living in Israel, because most people don't get the chance to do that. Either they're born here in Israel, they don't live in America, or they're born in America, they don't really live in Israel. There are definitely people that made Aliyah. When you go back to America, after living in Israel, I've been living in Israel for about 8 years now. Not the first time I've been back to America, but I've become more acutely aware of the differences between America and Israel. And America is really great. I personally I reviewed America as a country. I gave it 9.5 out of 10 stars. Israel, I give it 8 out of 10 stars. I can't give evaluations to any other countries. I haven't been there. But they're both pretty good countries. America is really great. I mean, everything is really good about America. The service is good. Everything is good. They have the Constitution there, which is, your body. You talk about your body, talk about the Constitution. Your body feels different there. It feels comfortable there. Everything's comfortable. Most of the food is decent. The accommodations are decent. It's not as cutting edge as Israel, believe it or not. Technologically, Israel's far ahead of America. They're about 10 years behind in America. No one's driving electric vehicles over there. No one's using Google Pay over there. But America is just more comfortable. It really is. The culinary experience is not amazing over there. Fine dining might be better. Not that fine dining I think is better in Europe and Israel. Israel's really, an offshoot of Europe. Fine dress, fine, haute cuisine, haute couture, couture, I don't pronounce it. High-end dressing, high-end fashion, and a high-end food. You're gonna find more in Israel than you find. And people don't know how to dress in America. I mean, I went to a modern Orthodox neighborhood. It was awful. I mean, people really, they just mix and match hodgepodge clothing. They buy cheap brands, they buy cheap clothing, and they hodgepodge it together. This guy's wearing a black hat with, not a let's say an orange baseball cap with like I don't know, a green shirt and blue pants. It didn't go together. I don't know. It was really strange. The people dress awfully there. Also, the exterior design, the housing, also the interior design, not as fancy as Israel. People pay more attention to these things, the finer details of life in Israel. So there's differences over here, but I almost think of America as like a midbar in a certain sense. The Jews were in the midbar for 40 years. It's like a wilderness. Midbar was, some of the commentators explained the midbar was basically they were in the womb of God. You feel like protected in America. You feel like you're in a womb. You feel like you're in a different world over there. It's almost like your mother's womb over there. There's no other world. Americans don't understand the rest of the world. They think that the whole world is America. They don't. I was talking to people in America. They have no clue how many people live in the world. They have no clue the population of other countries, which is the biggest country in the world, America, in landmass, in population. No, it's not. It's not even close. So it's funny. People who live in America have no clue what's going on, but it's like a womb over there. You feel protected. Everything's different. Everything feels. The service there is nice. The comfortability is nice. Everything is nice. It's kind of midbar. It's like your womb. When you go into Eretz Yisrael, when you go to Israel, then you feel like, you're back in the real world. The real world, outside of America. America's, and the Frum community, Lakewood, New Jersey, is the America of the Frum world. All right, anyway, Halchah Baros is actually a place where there's a lot of animals or robbers over there. Shi'eli Yisha, when you get out of the midbar, you're sick and you got better. So Yachavish Beis HaSur, you're in jail, v'yatza. Simonech, v'chol ha'chayim, Yeducha Sala, Chavish Yisurim Yam Midbar Chayim. Chavish, the chet is for the Chavish, you're in jail. Yisurim, you're sick. Yam, going to the sea. Midbar, you pass through a dangerous area. Beis, Imam Mevarech, what bracha do you say? Bracha da Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, hagom l'chayim tovash malani kol tov. Familiar with this bracha? Hashem Morim, Misha gamalchu tov, hu gamalchu tov sela. It's commonly said at Berachas HaTorah, we'll see in a second. Gimel, you're supposed to say it in front of 10 people. The Treminai Rabbanan, 2 out of the 10 should be rabbis. We translate this pasuk almost literally. Kal is a congregation, 10 people. Moshe Zkanim plural, are elders, rabbis. It's not rabbis. You should still make the bracha. The minhag is to say it after Kriyas HaTorah. Because there's 10 people there. Because you have a minyan. If you did it with less than 10 people, some say you're Yotze. This is an interesting thing. You're not Yotze if you say it. I'll talk about this more in Ian to lean on whether I believe this is true or which opinion I believe is more correct. You're not Yotze, it has to be Dafka in front of 10. It sounds like a Davar Shebekdusha. But Tov Lachzer Levarach B'fnei Asara B'la Askar Hashem Malchus. If you did make the bracha in front of less than 10, and we have 10 around, you should make the bracha again without Hashem Malchus. Dalit. If someone makes bracha for you, you answer amen, yatsa. He can make it for you. He says in Aramaic, basically, blessed is Hashem that gave us over to you. You're on the brink of death, and He gave us over to you. Amen. He said, amen, yatsa, you're yotze. It's not a bracha levatala for someone to make the bracha on account of you. In a certain sense, it's relevant to him also. He's happy that his friend survived. Hey, in Berach Echad Hagomel La'atzmo, when it's Kavan Lahotias HaChavero, if someone is chayiv in Berachas Hagomel, he gets up. A lot of people do this. They get up. There's a lot of people that come back to yeshiva or something like that after Ben Asmanim. One person will get up in yeshiva and he'll make the bracha amongst the other people. He's going to be Yotze. I feel blowing even if he's supposed to answer Amen, but if you don't answer Amen, you're still Yotze because Shomei Akon. It's the other person. If the other person wasn't Chayav, we learn Halakha Dal, you have to say Amen. But if you're Chayav and he's Mechavin to be Yotze, you're Yotze as long as you had Kavana to be Yotze with him. Vav im Echar, let's say it took too long to say Echar means more than 3 days. We're going to see in a second. You're supposed to say it within 3 days. That's why every 3 days there's Kriyas HaTorah. So if you come in on Thursday, you can say it on Shabbos. If you come in Monday after Kriyas HaTorah, you can say it on Thursday within 3 days. Nonetheless, if you delay, you can still say it for as long, seemingly, as you want. I didn't make Birchas Hagomel when I came to America, and I'm not going to be Birchas Hagomel coming back to Israel because I don't believe that crossing a yam on a plane is considered Yardei Hayam. But you have as long as you want to say it. Zion, some people say only 5 days. Zion, Ashkenaz is Sarfas, Ein Mavarach Nishochan merely here. Ashkenaz is Germany, Sarfat is France. And they would make the bracha when you go from city to city, even though you go through a wilderness, a woods, a forest. It has to be through a dangerous area where there's wild animals and bandits. It was Farad. However, in Spain, anywhere you go on an area which is not inhabited, it's dangerous. So, if it does have a parsa, which is about 4 kilometers, if it's really extremely dangerous, going through Harlem, right? Imagine you go through Harlem. I don't think Harlem is as dangerous now as it was back in the day. You go through Harlem or something like that, you have to make Birchas Hagomel. You didn't know that? According to the Shulchan Aruch, anytime you get sick, it has to be a significant sickness. But even if you're on the brink of death, right? Or it's a makasha chalal, right? If you get an inner wound or something like that, where you're Machal Shabbos for that, still, that's not the only time you say Birchas Hagomel. Ella kol sha'ala lamita v'yard. If you were sick in bed, you had the flu. Mishadomik mishal garden. Once you go into bed, it's like the gardam. A gardam is a place where there's judges that are very high-ranking judges that they have to go on steps to get to their seat. Whether you regularly get sick or it's something that happens once in a while, if you're in bed, you have to make Hagomel when you get out of bed. The Ramah says no. It's an internal wound, internal bleeding or something like that, or you're going to die on the brink of death, then that's the minhag of the Ramah in Germany, and our minhag also, only when it's a severe sickness. These 4 are not the only times to make Birchas Hagomel. We talked about in Reishud Ches. I still remember Reishud Ches. Talked about a nace. A wall fell on him. Right? Besides the bracha she'asali nace, you'd also, according to the first opinion, you'd also make the bracha of Hagomel. A bull was running after. Wild bull was running after. You're in Spain, Pamplona, Spain, with the running of the bulls. You got spared. You'd say Birchas Hagomel she'amad alav, or maybe even she'asali nace. She'amad alav be'ir. Aryeh el Tarfo, a lion came opposite him. Im ganavim bolo im sordei el Laila v'nislam. Shodrei Laila. They came and broke into your house. They were armed. They all have to say Hagomel. V'yejomrim she'en varach Hagomel. Elahani arba dafka v'tel varach below askar she'el malchus. Machlokas. Shulchan Aruch recommends. Besides, these are all cases when you have a nace. We talked about Reishud Ches. You have a nace that happens. You make a bracha she'asali nace. You'd also make Birchas Hagomel according to one opinion. And since it's a machlokas, you make it without Shem Hashem. That's the conclusion of today's year. Stay tuned for Ian Talina, where I talk about, do you need 10 people? Or is it okay with less than 10 people? It's machlokas. But I'll tell you my opinion. Ian Talina coming up next.